everyone. Today we are going to make chicken and dumplings. I have made chicken and dumplings before, but I have not made them the way that I loved them as a child. And part of that reason is because I've been having a really hard time figuring out how to recreate what I was served as a child. Let me tell you about it. When I was a kid, it was always my great-grandma who cooked chicken and dumplings. I have asked my dad why her chicken and dumplings were so good. And as far as I can tell, she didn't have any special ingredients. It was pretty normal. But I remember her dumplings were always so tender and it was so flavorful. And so my dad has offered me two suggestions. The first one being my great-grandma was very elderly by the time I knew her. And he said she had a habit of waking up at like 4 a.m. And if there was a gathering that day where she was expected to bring the chicken and dumplings, she would just start cooking them at 4 a.m. So his first bit of advice was they were prepared very far ahead of the event, and then they just sat on the stove or the counter all day until she had to bring them. The second thing that he suggested is when she would cook them, she would forget about them. So, yeah, everything was just very tender and had a chance to meld, very ample chance to meld. And that's why it was so good. So we're gonna give it a go. I don't quite have time to let it sit and completely forget about it, but it's about 1:15 in the afternoon, and this is gonna be our dinner tonight. So we're gonna get it started. Maybe overboil our dumplings a little bit so they start to fall apart just a tiny bit. We're gonna see how close we can get it to Gammy's chicken and dumplings. I have my carrot and my onion chopped here, and then I have chopped celery in the freezer that I'll pull out in a moment. I'm gonna get this chicken out. This is a Mary's organic chicken. I bought it from Azure. This is the first time I have tried this product. Wow, this packaging is very stubborn. Or I just need new kitchen tools. I'm thinking I'm just gonna drop it straight into the soup. Over here on the stove, I have a pot that has been, it's about to simmer. I put, I guess about 8 cups of broth in there. I might need some more, but I just wanted to get it started. And then I put in the bouillon that we made the other day. So of course this calls for chicken stock, but first off, we're putting a chicken in there, so it's gonna make our chicken stock. And that bouillon tastes really good anyway. So it does look like there's a packet in here that I'm gonna pull out. I suppose you're supposed to add those to your stock, but I don't really mind leaving them out for this. Or is it gravy that you make with that? I'm really not well versed when it comes to whole birds. All right, in our bird goes. And that pot is barely big enough. Let me show you guys. I may have to adjust my plan. I did not think this chicken, it's a small chicken. Oh boy, what do I do? So in go the onions. I'm having regrets. Okay, nope, I gotta do it. I gotta go find a different pan. All right, well, best laid plans. I just went all over looking for my stock pot, and I can only find my massive canning stock pot. And that is not gonna work for this. So we're just gonna see what happens. I'm assuming I'm gonna have to keep this on a really low simmer. Maybe for the dumpling step, I will get out my giant canning pot, because there's obviously no room in here for dumplings. But I don't want to use the giant canning pot because it's so wide that I would have to, like, you know, triple the amount of broth. I don't want to do that. This is what we're gonna do. He wants 3 stalks of celery, so I guess that's about 3 chopped. Now I'm gonna do 2 teaspoons of salt. And I'm gonna do maybe like half teaspoon of pepper. I'm gonna try to get this all nestled in here so nothing is just hanging out. I'm gonna put a lid on it, put it on about medium and stay really close. So if it starts to go crazy, I can intervene. This is not so bad after all. Let's see if I can get a hold of this guy. Flip him over. All right. It's at a nice gentle simmer and it hasn't come close to overboiling. Here is my delicious broth and I pulled the chicken out. It is right here. I'm just gonna let this cool just a little bit so I can handle it easier and get it all shredded up. I am gonna try to let this cool and hopefully skim some fat off the top. I really wanna use the fat in place of the butter in the dumpling recipe, so hopefully that happens quick enough. Let's see, it's 3:28. Maybe my great grandma was onto something. Maybe I should start this first thing in the morning because I feel like I had all this time and now I don't feel like I have time to do a really long, I forgot about it kind of simmer. So it's still gonna be delicious. Just might not be what I remember from my childhood. Now I'm going to make the dumplings. I have a little bit of fat here that I strained off with, I guess there's a little bit of broth in there too. And then I melted a tablespoon of butter since I didn't think I had enough fat. I don't know if I would get more off once it cooled all the way, probably, but that's all I could get for now. And then here I have flour, baking soda, and salt mixed up. I'm loosely following a recipe from online. I will post all the recipes that I'm loosely following down below, but I am also just kind of doing my own thing. So here I have some milk. Let's see. Seems like it might be kind of moist. We might need to add some more flour. Because we still have to add our fat. And I don't want to skip the fat. That's where a lot of the flavor is. So let's get this incorporated and then see if we need more flour. Because this has to be rolled out and then sliced. So these are not drop dumplings. This is a really damp dough. So I'm gonna sprinkle in some flour. Just try to get it workable. Just like the gnocchi we made the other day, I really don't want to make it too dense, but we do have to be able to handle it. Okay, I think that might be it. I'm gonna flour this. In the background here, oh, you can't see it right now, but my stock pot is coming up to a boil so that I can boil these dumplings. Okay, that's a nice dough. In the end, you can actually smell the chicken a little bit. That's awesome. I also pulled and shredded the chicken. So all of that meat is ready to get added back in as soon as we are ready to serve. I remember my great-grandma's dumplings. You could basically mush them with your tongue. They were so tender. And maybe that's not desirable, you know? But that's what I grew up with. I probably should have put this on a mat. So I'm gonna press just barely to try to score these. Oh yeah, they're nice and loose underneath. So I'm just gonna let them hang out for a minute until the pot is ready. This stove takes so insanely long to boil. I have it cranked all the way up and I'm just gonna start going for it. I guess I'm not worried about overcooking the dumplings, seeing as how that was my original plan. There's still some more to go, but I'm gonna move them around a little bit. I love the dumplings so much that now I'm wondering if I should have made a double batch, because I'm sure I'm gonna be competing with my kids. We do have a lot of fresh parsley out in the garden that I might garnish this with. But I didn't really want it in the broth. I just wanted a simple broth. In my mind, chicken noodle soup is the soup that has all the fragrant herbs and all of that. And chicken and dumplings was more of a plain comfort food. It still has depth of flavor and is well salted, but it just doesn't seem to have as many of the aromatic herbs. At least that's how I was raised. Maybe we're just boring. We're boring folks. All right, I can't resist. Gonna try some. That is a winner. This is really so easy too. You can kind of just, I kind of just wung it every step of the way. And it's just a really forgiving recipe. Those bouillon cubes that we made the other day, those really, really help. As well as making sure that you salt your broth properly and give that chicken time to impart its flavor. You can't go wrong. It's delicious. And the more fat you can get in your dumplings, the better. All right, thank you for joining. I will see you all in the next video. Bye.